Hello, everybody. I want to talk more about neurodevelopment and give you more of a sense of what it's all about. And what I want to do on this video is talk about touch as an example of one part of the nervous system and how, from a neurodevelopmental perspective, what touch would look like, what things may be responsible by touch nerves. So, in this video, what I'd like to do is tell you typical things that you can see in everyday life that might be connected or very well connected to touch nerves not being so well organized, not functioning the way we'd like them to for the person. All right. So you don't have to have all of these by any means, but just it will give you a sense of how many you have and how extreme your child might have it. That will give you a sense of how much there's an issue here, and that hopefully working with neurodevelopment can help you address these issues to make them go a lot better for your child. So first up is a classic. I think there's going to be a number of classics in this topic, but the first one is about food. So very many of the children that I work with, they have a very limited diet. Maybe your child just has a few foods that they don't like. Maybe they don't like the foods being next to each other on the plate, or they don't like foods with bits in it. Different things connected with maybe the texture of food, if that's an issue. And some children, maybe they only like three or four different types of foods, and that's maybe all you can get them to eat. And the touch nerves may well be the reason why that's the case. There can be other neurodevelopmental reasons as well. Sometimes, like the noise of certain eating, can be an issue and so on. But we don't probably often think about it very much. I certainly didn't before I learned this work, that we're probably aware that our lips are very, very sensitive. So sometimes the food might touch the lips, and that can be unpleasant for some people. But even inside the mouth, that the tongue and the gums and so on can be super, super sensitive. And maybe even some of you listening to this, you will also know, oh, I don't like mushrooms, Paul, they're a bit too slimy, or I don't like porridge, right? There might be a texture, a particular texture, either that you really love or that you really find unpleasant. Even if the thing itself's taste is no problem, it's more to do with how it feels in the mouth. So sometimes children with autism can have a very extreme version of this. All right. The next thing then is connected to hygiene. And again, I'm thinking there's going to be many of you that are going to relate to this. So I'm talking about everything to do with, let's say, the face washing, hair washing. If a child finds these things unpleasant, is what I'm saying. Hair brushing, combing, teeth brushing, and so on. These are going to be really big indicators that the touch nerves on the scalp, on the face, are really super sensitive and could benefit from some help and support. All right. I forgot to mention their nail cutting. Again, some of the clients, some of the children I work with, the parents know that they've got to cut their fingernails at night when the child is sleeping. All right. Uh, then the next one is clothes. Again, I think a classic, that you might have certain types of clothes that are not pleasant, and the child really fights against putting them on. Like socks is a classic. So, and parents probably all know these days, I probably from experience or hearing about it on Facebook or something, that turning socks inside out can really, really help. But it can be other clothes as well. It can be if there's stiff fabrics, or it can be if there's labels that need cutting out, or a stiff seam in something. Okay. And in an extreme version of this, what it might be is the child, when they're at home, they like to pretty much be naked, or maybe even completely naked. And even when parents might say to me, oh, they see goosebumps all over the child, so that the child does look cold, but that the child, it seems that the child would prefer to be cold rather than wear something that's like so unpleasant on their skin. All right. The next topic with touch then is physical contact with other people. And obviously, this is going to vary a lot. If you're a child, that might make you nervous about being with other children or playing with them or, like running around on the playground or something, because you're just not going to want to have physical contact with them, touch them, because it might be really unpleasant for you. And you don't even want to get close because you're just nervous what they will do. And there might be, maybe adults are safer. They can look safer, I think, to some children with autism because adults are a bit slower, a bit more predictable what they're going to do. Um, so, physical contact can be an issue, whether that's just holding somebody's hands or giving them a hug and so on. You might notice that your child does hug, but they might just like lean into a hug and let you hug them, but they may not always hug back. Okay, because they may be avoiding touch uh, on their arms, but especially the hands where there's a lot more, hands are a lot more sensitive and a lot more nerve endings, a lot of touch nerves on the hands and the fingers. All right. Um, so it might be contact with people that's an issue and looking to avoid that, but it might also be avoiding contact with things. I've only seen this a few times, but it might just be that a child doesn't want to hold toys in their hands or pencils or just anything else really. And they just go around avoiding almost anything. And obviously that's can be a bit challenging in terms of, practicing their gross motor or their fine motor or, just their dexterity basically with the hands. And obviously then that's part of the any play that they're going to allow themselves to do with other people and sharing toys and so on and so on. So that can limit those things as well. All right. So those are some of the major areas that I wanted to talk about. So if you see some of these, then I would say touch is a priority and really worth working on these issues, not just because any one of them is unpleasant for their child and probably unpleasant for you as a parent as well, but because on top of that, if our touch suddenly starts working way better for us, then the brain, I think, finds it easier to develop and builds up to higher functions and can focus on learning other things more easily because then they're not constantly being distracted by uncomfortable feelings in their body. So sorting out touch for somebody can then hopefully make progress on other things happen way faster. And that's why I would see and encourage people to also see touch as a priority. That might sound really strange and obvious in the context of what I've been saying, but in practice, it has happened to me once or twice that a family's come to work with me and they really, really wanted to work, let's say, on speech. Oh, Paul, he's at this age and he's got to learn to talk, otherwise he may never learn to talk, and so on. And I really wanted them to work on touch. Yes, do some other things for speech as well, of course, but see touch as a big issue, as a priority. And sometimes parents didn't want to go for that. That didn't sound so convincing, which I totally respect, right? So they went off and they went off and did their own sort of course for trying to work on the speech. All right. I hope that's useful. I'm going to talk on the other videos about things to do to help. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye bye.